Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the late afternoon sessions now for Array. And really, if you've been tuning in so far, what a great day we've been having. We've learned so much about SaaS, the future of retail, and some great education sessions as well with SQ Digital. So we're just having a fantastic day. It's a real great celebration. And don't forget, we've got plenty more still to come. Sorry, it's getting some really bad feedback there. Just bear with me too. So this is the challenges of live. You're just getting a little bit of feedback there. But anyway, so what have we got to come later on this afternoon? Interview with James Walker-Dean. So really looking forward to that. But now we are really pleased that we're working really closely on Array Festival with Lancashire Forum and the team, Rory, Laurie, Juliana and the team from UClan. Play a fantastic role in supporting digital and creative businesses in the region. And we're all too pleased to get involved in Array this year. So I'm absolutely thrilled they're involved in. And today they're doing a session lined up with outdoor sportswear company Inov, who just on the doorstep, just on the road from Lancaster and Kendal, and a company that I'm sure, no doubt you'll have seen, have just gone on a rapid and exciting journey over the last couple of years. So just before we get into the session as well, final reminder, ICS Accounting, if you want to check in with the guys from ICS, they're in the breakout rooms on the forum platform today, and the SQ team is still there as well. But with no further ado, I'm going to pass over now to Laurie from UClan Lancashire Forum and take it away. Thanks, Laurie, over to you.
Cheers, Dan. Thanks a lot. Right, I'm just going to share my screen. Yeah. Okay, so just a few words from me before I hand over to the guys from Innovate. Somebody just tell me if you can see my screen.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, cool, great. Okay, so here's just what we're going to be talking about today. So as Dan says, I'm Laurie Smith, Programme Director from Lancashire Forum Creative, and we are a business and leadership development programme that works predominantly with creative and digital businesses from across the region, mainly Lancashire. So I just want to introduce Juliana and Lena, who are part of the team, and they're behind the scenes, they're running things today. We're going to be taking screenshots, so if you wouldn't mind changing your name, so it's got your full name and preferably your business name. So if you don't know how to do that, click on your little picture, the three buttons at the top right, click on that and you can rename yourself. So yeah, we are recording, but as you know, Dan's broadcasting everything to the world anyway. So just to be warned, yeah, we are going to take some screenshots. So you've got your cameras off anyway, so it's not a problem. Okay, great. So thanks, Dan, for the invitation. Quick bit about Lancashire Forum. As I said, we work with creative and digital SMEs, and we really try to be innovative in everything we do. So kind of work we do, innovative learning, really. So we've done things like Lego Serious Play, we run design sprints. Everything we do is kind of based on social learning and peer-to-peer learning, with some added industry and academic expertise for added measure. We work both online and offline. Obviously, currently, everything we've been doing has been online, including this. But obviously, in the future, I think there's going to be a bit of hybrid working going on. So how we do Lego in a hybrid format, we will have to see about that, but we'll sort something out. So when Dan asked us to be involved, we knew we had to be, come up with something interesting for the program. We've worked with Dan before on last year's Array and the Innovation Festival last year. So Innovate is kind of what our guest speakers do. The clue's in the name, so they seem like an ideal choice. Innovation means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. So just before we kick off, could I invite you all to just add to the chat just one word that kind of represents what innovation means to you. So just while you're doing that, we'll have a look at what comes up. So while you're doing that, I think I may introduce who we're going to be hearing from. So first of all, we're going to hear from Ali, who is the category manager for Innovate for running and hiking. And then following Ali will be Bodil, who's the footwear product manager. And trust me, they have some very exciting things to talk about. Fascinating story. A relatively small company operating in a kind of brutal world of huge brands, and Innovate definitely kind of punching above their weight, I think. So yeah, for a company that innovation lies at the heart of everything they do, I think it's probably time to hand over. So Ali, I believe you're first.
Thanks, Laurie. Let me just get my slides up. Just give me the nod when you can see that.
Yeah, we can.
All good. Thanks, Bodil. Right, great. Hi, everyone. Thanks a lot for the intro, Laurie, and thanks a lot for having us. We're just the other side of the border in Kendal, but we're really proud to be based in the Northwest, and I think it's a real honour to come and talk today. So thanks very much for giving us the time and having us. We're going to be talking to you a little bit about the brand. So if you haven't heard of us before, hopefully you'll get to know us a little bit more. And then really we're going to dive straight into the good stuff, and that's talk about innovation, how we approach it in relation to launching a product. As you can probably tell, it really is at the heart of everything we do. It's in the name. And so, we're going to give you a rundown of how we take an idea right through to market. But first off, just to kick off, we are forged in the fells. We are kind of made from the Lake District. Is at the heart of everything we do. It's at the heart of all of our photography. We were founded in 2003 by Wayne Eady, who's actually, Laurie mentioned, it's been a really exciting few years for the brand, and Wayne has actually just bought back into the company. We were previously owned by a Japanese company called Descent, and they were fantastic to work with. But I think having Wayne back in the company now means we can be more nimble, more agile. We can be quicker to react, quicker to market. So it's a really exciting time for us, and we're seeing a lot of growth across our categories. And so I also just wanted to put up our sort of brand philosophy there. We are, as Laurie said, we are in a world that is full of some pretty big names. There's lots of competition, but we like to do things our own way. We have some really exciting innovations that are unique to us. And for a small but growing brand, we really do pack a punch. And so we always, as Wayne says, thrive to innovate. We're always looking in the other direction, trying to outcompete those big brands. And today you'll hear from a few examples of how we managed to do that. In terms of our athlete philosophy, we're all about the athlete's interaction with the environment. We're not about lots of cushioning underfoot so you can't really feel the terrain you're running on. It's all about designing something that allows the athlete to interact naturally with the natural environment. So trying to create that natural movement between athlete and terrain. And so you'll hear a lot more from Bodil, our product manager, about how we approach that style of innovation. But it gives us a really key distinction within the marketplace. We operate across 3 categories, running, training and hiking. And really we're targeted, as we would describe it, the committed sports person, someone that wants to push their limits, push the boundaries, see what they're capable of, see what they can achieve. We're the brand for them. Within running, we focus on off-road running, so trail running, ultra running, fell running, as I'm sure some of the local people listening here might have had a go at. And fell running was really our heritage, and now we've kind of broadened our appeal into things like trail running and ultra running. Training, we have a CrossFit category, so producing shoes and kit for CrossFit boxes, and there's lots of those in the north of England where you'll see Innovate products. And hike, which is a relatively new space for us, but a really exciting one and really growing for us as well. because one thing I should have said about our product DNA, and this is something Bodil will touch on, a big part of what we do in terms of innovation is about being light. And so across all three of these categories, we really do have lightweight at the heart of our product design. And so hike, we're seeing a lot of people move away from your traditional heavy leather boots to a more kind of lighter but still tough and durable product. And we believe we're really positioned well to take advantage of that. So across those three categories, that's where the brand sits. Really exciting categories, quite different at times, but ultimately we're about allowing those committed athletes to really deliver their best performance, and making sure we are the products that are going to really drive their confidence to really push it and go after it. On to innovation. At the heart of what we do is this wonder material called graphene, which you may have heard of, you may not have heard of, but since 2018, we've been bringing products to market that are utilizing this kind of wonder material. And it's really, as a material, it has kind of limitless potential. And actually, we're starting to see graphene used in lots of different industries, from sports footwear through to aeronautics, through to medicine. It really does have the potential to change the game. But what actually is graphene? It's the strongest material on the planet. It's 200 times tougher than steel, but incredibly lightweight, really thin and very flexible. It's actually a single layer of graphite, which was first mined in the Lake District in 1555. So perfect, coming from the home of Innovate. But it wasn't until 2004 that it was actually first isolated, where graphene was first isolated from graphite. And that was by two scientists at the National Graphene Institute, which is part of the University of Manchester. And then in 2010, they were subsequently awarded the Nobel Prize for that. But our partnership began in 2014. And I think you'll hear a lot about that partnership from Bodil with the National Graphene Institute. And that's a really important part of who we are as a brand and how we deliver innovative product, is having those kind of winning partnerships. And the one with the Graphene Institute is, a massive part of our future plans and really what's helping to drive growth for the brand. We started the partnership in 2014 and took our first product to market in 2018 after realizing that we could introduce graphene into a rubber outsole compound to increase durability and increase elasticity. So in 2018, we launched our graphene grip, which is super sticky. It did kind of revolutionize underfoot traction. Since then, we've seen athletes like Jasmine Paris and Damien Hall, two incredible Innovate ambassadors, have done some amazing things in products featuring graphene grip. And actually, it was only a matter of months ago that we launched our next graphene innovation, which is kind of hot off the press and new to market. And that is, we've taken graphene into midsole foams. So the cushioning that you have underfoot, we've got graphene in the outsole compound, but we've now added it to underfoot cushioning as well to create G-Fly foam, which is an incredibly springy and responsive midsole that delivers 25% more energy return. And I think that point there of, scientifically proven is a really key part of what we get from our partnership with the Graphene Institute. And that is, they are able to qualify these performance gains. And that's massive in terms of, for my role as, marketing manager and category manager, to be able to take that to market and qualify this product and say that we can now deliver 25% more energy return. That's a huge gain for a runner. And so a really powerful message for us. So having that partnership and being able to really back it up with the science and with the data is key for a brand like ours. And here is a member of that partnership. This is Maria holding our new G-Fly foam midsole. And it takes a long time. And again, Bodil will take you through the detail of how her product team approach this, but it really is a labor of love. And we really are kind of testing for a long time before this sees the light of day. And in the case of G-Fly foam, it was 2 years of testing. So actually, if you imagine, Graphene Grit was launched in 2018, we pretty much turned our attention to this straight away. We had 40 athletes throughout the process, put in over 18,000 kilometers of testing for us. I think we had over 50 different compound mixes. So just constantly trying to find that perfect balance of graphene and EVA, so we can get that perfect result for the end runner. And as you can see by the quote at the bottom there, the results have been really astonishing. We have genuinely managed to create a new foam that is distinct in the marketplace, and we'll talk a little bit about that, a little bit more about that in a second. But that's so important for a small brand, because we're never going to have the huge marketing budgets of a big global brand. Where we make our mark is through innovation and product innovation and product design. And this generates, as you'll see in a second, a lot of PR, a lot of brand buzz, and it all starts from that 2 years of testing. We really do have to put in a lot of work to make sure that we've got a product that is going to generate a lot of noise and keep building the brand. And so just to take you through that in more detail, so taking that one step back, so you just heard a little bit about the process of how we utilize graphene in our products, and you'll see the finished product in just a second. But how do we apply that to product launch? And really, it starts with a product brief, and this is something that I would work really closely with Bodil on, and it's ultimately identifying and agreeing the opportunity for a specific product in the marketplace. And first and foremost, that absolutely has to start with market insight and consumer demand. So that would be talking to retailers, talking to distributors, talking to runners, as many as you possibly can, just trying to understand, where the market's going, what products have been selling well, and who to, and what's really driving that. Without that insight, it's just our internal team guessing at what might sell well down the line. And remember that we're working on seasonal calendars. So what we're planning for now, you won't come to market for another 12 months. So you have to really be gathering as much insight as you possibly can to make sure that you're creating the right product for the right time, for the right person. So it really does start with feedback, insight, and you're just trying to understand where that demand lies and whether there is a clear opportunity for your brand versus the competition. So making sure that you've got a clear competitor set, you understand what people like and dislike about the competitor shoes, or competitor clothing or equipment, whatever it may be. And that's where you can start to find your gap that you can exploit. And once you've done that, once you've identified something that you think is a clear opportunity and you've heard from the market that this could potentially sell well, then you need to understand how it fits within your range and how you position it to the consumer. And so the range is obviously your full set of products. And so our footwear range, for example, will have all of our different footwear franchises. And we need to understand that if we're introducing a new product, it has to fit, it has to make sense. It has to be clear and easy to understand for not only us, but retailers and consumers, press. So anyone that's trying to understand the brand, really, it makes such a big impact if you can make a clear and concise range that people easily understand. Because when it comes to that positioning, that last point there is, if people can understand that clear positioning and straight away make the link with, okay, I know that this product is going to help me achieve this or is going to deliver this for me, then getting them to the point of purchase is so much quicker, because they're not wasting time and energy trying to understand, like, okay, well, what does that shoe do and why is it different to that, and should I be buying that one or this one? And God, I don't know. So I'm actually just going to close the website or walk out the store, and you've missed your chance to sell a pair of shoes. So it really is essential that we get this point super clear and make sure that not only the range is clear, but the product comes with clear positioning for the end user. And so taking that a little bit further, how do we approach that? Well, it starts with what is our overall master claim for this pair of shoes? What do we really believe that this shoe can deliver? And so the first shoe to use the G-Fly foam, which you'll see in just a second, I said that it's scientifically proven to deliver 25% more energy return. Well, we know that our master claim can be hooked around the fact that as an ultra running shoe, this is a shoe that is going to allow you to feel fresher and faster for longer, because we know that the midsole technology is going to help deliver that. Keep your legs fresher. It's going to keep you pushing. It's going to, you're going to get more responsiveness from it, and it's not going to break down over time because of the graphene. And so eventually, we can craft that master claim that is, you'll feel fresher and faster for longer. And how will we break that down with supporting evidence? That's where our product features come in, and that's where we work really closely with Bodil around, okay, well, how do we actually back up that claim? Well, we know that it's got G-Fly foam, so we know that it delivers 25% more energy return. We know that you've got graphene grip, so you've got superior underfoot traction, and we know that we've got an upper material that is really breathable and comfortable. And so all three of those, what we'd call kind of supporting statements, roll up into our master claim. And that's what gives the consumer the reason to believe, which is so important to have clear, because without that, you can't create that last point, the athlete mindset, which is, okay, I can clearly see what this shoe will help me with, or where I will be using this shoe, in what conditions, on what terrain. We have to make sure that it is super clear and easy to understand for the consumer. So again, we can get them to that point of purchase as quickly as possible. So that's really where the product life cycle begins, if you like. It starts with the brief, then we have to nail down the positioning, and then eventually we'll get to, okay, what's this product going to look like? Bodil will start to cost it out with the factory, and then we'll start to shape the design and the overall comms plan, which I'll take you through in just a second. But just to show you the product that we took to market with the G-Fly foam, I'm just going to play you a really short video that just shows you everything that I've just been through, basically culminating in this short video of a product overview, essentially. So this is our Trailfly Ultra G300 Max, which we just launched. It's the first shoe to. Okay, and so here it is. Sorry, pretty moody background music there, but hopefully, it gives you a good overview of the product that we eventually took to market. And really, I just wanted to play that short video because it shows you all of the features that we have to work on with Bodil and their team. Bodil and her team, that we're gonna take to market and ultimately use as at the heart of our comms plan. So, product and marketing for us are essentially joined. You can't have one without the other. We can't have a bad product that then has a massive marketing campaign. I mean, you can try it, but ultimately the product's going to live and die by how high quality it is. And you can't have an incredible marketing campaign. So you can't have an incredible product without a marketing campaign. And so we have to have both working in tandem, and that all starts with feeding back that market insight into Bodil and the design team to make sure that we end up with a product like this that has taken into account runners' needs, retailers' needs, market trends, to eventually bring to market something that is packed full with innovation that we know is what people are crying out for. And so hopefully that video just demonstrated, all the different features that we then hang our campaign off, because we've worked really hard to get to the shoe that we think, right, this is exactly what the market is after and runners need. And so how do we then approach building a campaign? So we've got our product brief, we've finalized the design with Bo Deal and the team. The innovation is really packed into the shoe. And now it's about making sure that we tell that story and we really make an impact in the market. And so from a campaign perspective, absolutely always starts with our objectives. What are we trying to achieve? Who are we trying to reach? How are we trying to reach them? How many people are we trying to reach? What is our clear messaging? So taking that positioning document and distilling it down into what is our clear campaign message? What actually underpins this product, and how do we tell that story of whether it's the graphene foam or the grip or the Adaptaflex groove technology that you saw. And that feeds a creative brief. And the creative brief is essential because it sets the standard for what we want to come away with when it comes to telling the campaign story. So that is capturing everything from, okay, what type of media are we going to need to create, which fuels the media plan, that last point there. But it's, what's the tone we're going to use? What assets are we going to create? How long are they going to be? What media will they be shown on? Who do we have to provide them to? All of that stems from your key objectives, your key campaign messages, and then finally, your brief to the photographer, the videographer, the rest of the marketing campaign, the rest of the marketing team, that sets the targets for the campaign essentially. And then that feeds your media plan. So then we go off to whether it's trade press or online, whether it's websites or partners, retailers, distributors, blogs. It could be anything, but setting out a media plan that is going to roll up and hit those objectives that we've just gone through. So making sure that we can reach those target runners with the right messaging and the right assets. So they all kind of fold up into one big campaign plan that is all about maximizing the opportunity that that Bo Deal and the design team have done to get this product to market. Again, it comes back to that. You can't have one without the other. You then have to have a really solid plan in place to really maximize the opportunity that this product has. You can't just launch something and hope that people will find it, word of mouth will spread. That would be nice. But unfortunately, again, it comes back to when you're up against some big competitors, you really do have to shout loud when you get the chance. And so making sure that product, marketing, and sales are all aligned is crucial for a brand like Inov. And so just some of the results for the G-Fly, the Trailfly Ultra G300 Max, we had a phenomenal response to it. The world's first shoe with a graphene foam. We had a live press event with over 100 journalists that came to it, and it's since been covered in Forbes and the Financial Times, Runner's World, BBC. A phenomenal response. And just like I was saying earlier, this is huge for a brand like us because it really does raise awareness and drive people to your brand and starts to create that demand that's so essential. Again, talking about that media plan just then, a big global advertising campaign kicked off. So you'd see us in ultra running press everywhere from the US to the Alps region, the UK, over the next few months. Again, just telling that story of innovation in the Trailfly. And so far, the response from consumers has been really positive. A lot of positive reviews for the shoe, selling through fast. We've got more in the product pipeline coming. So again, that's another part of how you plan innovation is, okay, constantly thinking like, well, what's next? A bit like when we launched Graphene Grip in 2018, immediately started working on G-Fly. What is next in the pipeline? You can't just launch something, pat yourself on the back and sit back and relax. It has, you have to keep pushing it forward, and you have to keep telling that story and keep driving interest in the brand. And just some of the reviews for the shoe that again, have really has really been a nice surprise. Like such a lot of positivity out there for the shoe. A lot of people enjoying it, which is great. And the more coverage like this you can build, the more it sort of elevates your brand and tells that story of innovation. So a massively positive response to the shoe, which has been brilliant. So that's it from me. I'm going to hand over to Bodil, who is our product manager, as Laurie said, and a key figure in the process that I've hopefully just given you an insight into, that is, taking us from an idea, a brief, a conversation with a retailer or a consumer, right the way through to having someone review it on their YouTube channel and saying what a great product this is. Well done, Innovate. So yeah, over to you, Bodil.
All right, thank you. Laurie, did you want to jump in there or not?
Well, I was going to, just got a couple of questions through on the other platform where people are watching, and I wondered if now would be a good time to answer these. I don't know, can you see these, Ali and Bodil? I mean,
I can't. I'm sharing my screen, but I can come off if you want.
Well, so Nick asks, I noticed your shoes being worn by all the models in the latest BAM brochure. How do you identify other brands? Of course, it's not scrolling now. Sorry, bear with me. How do you identify other brands? Goodness me, technology, eh? Okay, that's all it says. It was on my phone. Bear with me. So I noticed your shoes being worn by all the models in the latest BAM brochure. How do you identify other brands to collaborate with? What are your criteria for this? And then I'll just ask the second one as well. Any plans to include wearable electronics to back up the performance claims, similar to Arion.Run?
Yeah, sure. I guess, I can take the collaboration question, and Bodil, I think you're probably best placed to take the kind of field test data question. So in terms of the collaboration, I think the one mentioned as an example, I think that's probably slightly more organic and has probably just happened. And I don't think we were aware of that. And that can happen when it comes to things like that. But actual product collaborations is something we're always investigating, because they're a great way to really drive innovation and also take your brand to a new audience. I think as a marketing and product team, we're always analyzing opportunities. And I think it starts with, is there a crossover with the two brands? And if so, then what would be the optimal opportunity? Would it be a pair of boots, for example, or is it a storm shell waterproof jacket, and trying to find the right product for the right partnership, if that makes sense. So yeah, in terms of identifying brands, we will always have a look at it has to fit from a tonal perspective, and also increasingly, sustainability is such a big part of this innovation process. And one thing that is exciting about graphene is that it extends the life cycle of the product and increases durability. So it means it slows down the process of your shoe wearing out, means a longer time before you look to replace it. Ultimately, less shoes arrive on landfill. So it's a key part of our sustainability strategy at Innovate. I think a big part of collaborations in the future for us, and I'm sure a lot of other brands, will be, how do you partner on something that's going to really drive sustainability and drive, you're seeing a lot of things in the market now of, I think, Allbirds and Adidas have just launched a recycled shoe together. I think that's going to be a huge area that people will be focusing on, and yeah, we're definitely part of that as well.
So on the wearable technologies, we have explored some collaborations on that. At the moment, I think implementing them into our footwear actually isn't very good from a sustainability standpoint, because it means that you're going to put electronics into your footwear that you then can't remove, and it goes into landfill. If we wanted to do any collaborations with wearable electronics companies, then I think it goes into the bracket that Ali just discussed as another product collaboration that we could certainly look into. I think at the moment, I've done a PhD in sports engineering, got quite a strong background in biomechanics, and a lot of the wearables that are currently on the market, the accuracy and reliability of them and their performance to actually give runners' insight on trail running is really, really difficult because it's so variable compared to road running. So I haven't really found any wearables that I thought would be useful to our core audience, which with off-road, it just kind of messes up the sensor data a bit too much. So we haven't done any collaborations on that yet, but feel free to get in touch if anyone's got something that works well off-road.
Thanks, Bodil. I'm very conscious we are running over a little bit, but Dan says it's okay if we run over a little bit. I've got one more question, and maybe just a quick one for Ali. So it's from Kim. Accepting you may not be able to compete with the global brands in terms of marketing budget, how much budget did you set aside for the launch campaign you have just described? So maybe if it was just a quick answer, if you could, Alan.
Yeah, of course. The simple answer is a lot. A big product launch like that has a huge impact for a brand like ours. So, a big percentage of our marketing budget went on the Trailfly launch. So yeah, it's a huge opportunity to make a lot of noise and to attract a lot of new people to the brand. So, you're looking at a good kind of 15-20% of our budget went on just that one product launch. And when you appreciate that we're across 3 different categories, all with their own launch calendar for the year, that's a big portion going on that one launch. So yeah, it's a lot of preparation to take something that significant to market.
Thanks, Ali.
No problem.
Okay, we'll keep the questions coming, but I think I'll hand over to Bodil now, if that's all right.
Thank you, Laurie. So I'm the footwear product manager at Innovate. And this means that I work on every shoe that we bring to market, right from the initial idea right until it goes into production. And I work very closely with Ali on this, as he previously mentioned. My background is very different from Ali. So I come from sports engineering and from academia. And that means that I'm usually bringing to the table things like the quantifiable improvements into our footwear that then the marketing team can take and help them build a great campaign. We work really closely together in order to ensure that we actually make that technical and innovative product that the market also wants and needs. So at Innovate, we obviously strive to innovate. In the 17 years of the company's existence, we've had lots of world firsts and groundbreaking innovations all the way through our history. And that eventually resulted in our graphene grip rubbers and our recently launched G-Fly foam, which you've heard about. I think one thing that to remember with innovation is that is what's going to set apart your company from the rest, which is great, but it does come with a really high risk, because venturing out in these areas of innovation and no other company has ever gone to, it could be for good reasons. It could be because it doesn't work. It could be because it's too expensive, etc. It could be because it's too hard. So we try to build in this inherent risk in our innovation projects. So I always have projects running that are innovative and exciting. And then at the same time, I also have a couple of projects running which are safer. So small improvements on best-selling products, for example. Next slide, Ali. So we usually start our innovations from a problem or a trade-off or a spark of interest. And being rooted in that community that you sell to or you supply to is really important in understanding where this gap in the market could be. One of the examples was a trip to Colorado that the team did. They talked to local runners, went out with them on the trails, and it sparked our ambition to make a cushion shoe that was also adaptable, because that was what the runners didn't have yet. They could either choose between adaptability or cushioning. And Innovate, everyone who works here kind of like lives and breathes the brand. We all run and hike and CrossFit to some degree. Next slide, please. That said, you don't actually have to excel in your specific area in order to make this work. It could even be detrimental, I found. Sometimes the products for the professional athletes would be requiring something really different than the products that are your main audience, the people who would actually buy them, because professionals all get it for free, obviously. But still being immersed in that community, especially the the sort of the local runners that are going out there every day and using the products and spending their money on them, they're the ones that can give you the best feedback on what's needed. And they're a really good inspiration source for me. Next slide. So once we've got one of these ideas, we found that what's really crucial for us is having the right sourcing partners. And this sounds easier than it actually is. We want our sourcing partners to see this as a partnership and not just as a factory company kind of relationship. We want to innovate with them together. And that is because with innovation, there's a lot of extra development work needed to bring these projects to market. And we need to sometimes put them on a longer timeline. We need to sometimes push them. And we need to maybe go through lots more iterations. And having them on board is so important. Next slide. So when we find something that we really believe in, like Ali was just mentioning about the G-Fly foam and the large proportion of our marketing budget, this is when we then really invest and commit. With graphene, we really invested and committed. We were one of the first ones, we are the first and only people to bring graphene to sports shoes. And we were arguably one of the first commercial companies to bring graphene to the market available for purchase in a normal way. It was a risky project because there were so many unknowns. And at the start, we were probably quite often told it couldn't be done. In the end, it only took us 18 months from the first sort of graphene meetings to a shoe on the retail shelf, which is really fast compared to other footwear brands and even our own internal timelines. So committing to an innovation that carries an obvious risk, but we did mitigate it by continuing to also bring to market new non-graphene shoes alongside this new innovation. So, we kind of ran both strategies. In the end, we found that it wasn't even really that necessary because at the moment our graphene footwear sales account for more than 50% of our total sales. So it's been a great success. Next slide. So there were a couple of key steps that we undertook to get there. First of all, our CEO at the time, he got in touch with the Graphene Institute in Manchester to see how their knowledge of graphene infused in rubbers, which they'd done before, but just not for sports footwear, could help us. We then decided to set up a KTP, which is a knowledge transfer project. And this is aimed at linking up research and industry by part government-funded projects. This is something I'm really heavily involved in, having a background in academia and now working in industry. So for us, the volume of this KTP has been really, really amazing. We gained an extra member of staff that can focus on our graphene innovations full time. We gained access to lab testing at the university. And then also we gained the experience of the rest of the research team, because a researcher never really works alone. They always work in a research group. So you don't just get that one person to work with you, you've got the whole group support and ideas as well. Next slide. So as I previously mentioned, the key to any innovation is the collaboration with your sourcing partners. They will not only need to collaborate with you, like I just said, but they also have that expertise and they can help you scale up your idea, which might work very well in a small scale one-off kind of batch, all the way to production where batches need to be much bigger. There's other factors to include, like maybe temperature changes or the way that the staff works. And having regular meetings and a clear business plan on how this innovation and the growth of the company will benefit you both is essential for getting their buy-in and that cooperation. So what we learned from the graphene project is that the possibilities are much larger than we originally thought that they would be. We did lots of rapid prototyping, and then with the access to the right skills and knowledge and knowledge to interpret those results, we found that we could get to market really quickly if you have that flexibility in business decisions as well. And that was a real key to success. So that's where small, medium-sized companies can really have a benefit compared to larger companies, because for us, it's basically, we've got a great result here. I can talk to our CEO directly. He's involved in lots of our meetings. And once we've got the buy-in, it's just go. And there's no delay, there's no red tape, there's no like large processes and lots of things that need to be signed off. And that's where we can really benefit and be more innovative than the bigger companies. And next slide. So in the recent projects where we launched a G-Fly foam, we also launched a new innovation called the Adapter Flex, which is a midsole that is both flexible but also cushioned. And we had that idea stem from the users of our shoes, like the people in Colorado, and also lots of people actually here in the Lake District saying they wanted adaptability and cushioning. What we did is we then sought the expertise that we were missing. So we had a podiatrist involved as a consultant, and we all got together with the design team very early on, straight away, so that everyone's input could be used together in a shoe. As you can see in this drawing, we had some podiatry experts, we had some biomechanics, and we had the design team all coming together. Our sourcing partners were also very early on involved. That helped us then to keep the essence of the design of what we were trying to achieve, but also change a couple of key details to ensure that the shoe also remained durable, because there's no point in making innovation if it lasts like 2 hours of running, and cost effective. And next slide. So with innovations, we also found that there was a need to get in touch with patent lawyers. So you need to have a good patent lawyer that's really on your side and understands what you're doing, and do that really early, because after any of the details of your innovation have been released into the public domain, you can't patent it anymore. So within the product team, we keep things quite locked and tight early on. And that enabled us to patent innovations that we didn't even think of at the start to patent, because we didn't think they were going to be so amazing and successful. Because sometimes it's only after the first prototype arrives and some of your testers running it that you're like, oh wow, this is actually much better than we thought. So that's something to keep in mind as well if you're doing any of your own innovations. Next slide. So I think I can honestly say that most people won't ever have heard of graphene or Adapter Flex if it wasn't for the success of our marketing team. We have a very strong one team mentality in Innovate, where marketing and product are working together all the way from the start, from the early ideas, and give that voice of the customer, give the ideas from product, etc., and work together all the way right through the end, and make sure that we make the best products to enable runners, hikers, and CrossFitters to be the best they can. Also, the marketing team is the expert in communicating the technical benefits of any innovation. I think if a lot of people just listen to me, they would tailor off and they won't ever read to the end of our product descriptions. So that's where we really need to work together. So I hope that we've inspired you today to look at your own business and how you can innovate effectively. So I'll give the word back to Laurie for some questions.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Bodil. Fascinating stuff. So thank you very much. I'm afraid we're kind of out of time, so I'm not sure we've got any time for any more questions, but by all means, email me some questions if you want. I'll put my email address in the chat now, and I'll pass them on to Ali and Bodil in due course. I just want to say thanks again to Dan for asking us along. Thanks for Bodil and Ali for their time.
Laurie.
And just a super quick plug for our next upcoming event, which is on the 1st of June, I believe, which is a toolkit for the think tank. Here we are. Thank you, Juliana. That's in the chat. So yes, so that's coming along. So please do sign up. Dan, yes.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Great. We just wanted to, if you all want to carry on this conversation on Zoom, it's absolutely fine. We'll just have to take you for, it'll be carry on in Zoom, and we'll be taking it off the main stage. So by all means, if you want to stay on, that's great from our point of view.
Great. Cheers, Dan.
Okay.
Thanks for the opportunity again.
No, thank you. Thank you for fantastic, and thanks to Ali and Badil for a fantastic session.